Welcome to the Oxygen Advantage podcast with your host, Oxygen Advantage founder Patrick McKeown. With the Oxygen Advantage podcast, we aim to show how functional breathing is an essential part of a healthy and well-balanced lifestyle. Each episode, we meet experts in their field from around the world and talk about their lives, their experiences, and how they learned the importance of breathing. Join us and get inspired. Get the Oxygen Advantage.
Having a conversation with TJ Reid. Now, if you're from Ireland, you will know of TJ Reid, and especially if you know the game of hurling. And if you're outside of Ireland, you may not know either TJ or the game of hurling, but I will genuinely say I think that hurling is the best game in the world. Not just because I'm in front of TJ Reid. It was a sport I played as a kid. I had my own child, she was playing it as well. And it's very, very skillful. It's a very ancient game. It's about 2,000 or 3,000 years old. It used to be played by warriors. It's really, really skillful and it's fast. So if you don't know anything about the game of hurling, do check it out. And it's spelled Hurling. After that introduction, TJ, welcome. It's great to have you on board.
Thanks very much, Patrick, for having me, and a great introduction to hurling. So it is, but yeah, look, it is the fastest field sport in the world as well, and probably the most skillfulest game in the world as well. So yeah, look, obviously, there's not there in terms of getting to the high levels. Obviously, there's a small percentage of people who actually go to the high levels of it due to the high demands of it, and also just due to the skillfulness of it, the game as well.
Yeah, sure. You can only imagine every little village and parish in Ireland has a GA club, and every youngster, their ambition is to play in Croke Park.
Yeah, look, it's the grassroots. Every parish, every rural little club is associated with the GAA, and that's probably the biggest connection of all time in terms of being social, having that connection. Having friends, family members, all volunteering to the club and all volunteering to make the club better. And like that, yeah, as soon as you're 4 or 5 years of age, the dream is to wear your intercounty jersey, and then to play in Croke Park, where Croke Park is the biggest and best stadium in Europe. So it's like the new camps or these places across the world, so it has that Colosseum effect of it, so but yeah, your dream starts at 4 or 5 years of age, and then you're given a hurley, probably not by choice, but that's where the roots of your family members are connected in the GAA, and your grandparents are heavily involved as well. And that connection, as parents, well, you want your son to be playing hurling or to be playing football for the local GAA club and being part of something as well. So it stems from there. And then obviously you get brought to as many hurling matches, club games, inter-county games, and then you're just living the moment. You're in the moment, and there's no care in the world. You're traveling across the country, watching matches, watching great players from other inter-county players as well, and it's a lovely natural way, and nature is heavily involved in as well, because you're outside in the grass and out in the fresh air. They could be the mindset in GA of, even though it could be hailstones and the winds could be going 100 miles an hour, you'll have kids wanting to be out in the fresh air and out playing around in the muck and the rain, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I often wonder why it didn't go beyond that. So I'd also like to kind of delve into the whole aspect of your work as a coach, because I know you work with a lot of people and that tremendous mindset that you have from sports. When you look back at your hurling and when you look at your hurling now, if you were to break it down, how much of it is genetic ability and how much of it would be, say, passion and the drive, the determination to actually do it?
Yeah. Good question. For me, number one would be that your passion. Um, you have to have the passion. You have to have the drive. You have to have the willingness to go on beyond anybody else. If you want to get that far, and that's okay. There's people who don't want to go that far, but the one percenters, they're the people who have that huge passion. They're living that moment every day of their life. Every morning they wake up, every night before they go to bed, they're thinking and visualizing what needs to be done the day after and the next day and the next day, and they're seeing what things are happening 3, 6 months down the line. And it is the passion number one. And then obviously, yes, genetics have a huge part to play in it, and it stems. I'm very lucky myself that even my brothers, he wouldn't be injury prone a lot. But when you look at other family members around and they're being hampered with injuries and setbacks and setbacks and setbacks. So genetics for me is number two, because yes, the passion will drive you, but if your body isn't right or can't go the distance, well, then unfortunately, you're not going to be able to exceed to get to that next level. So passion number one, and then your genetics then play a huge part. And being able to, I'm very lucky. I'm 30, a young 37-year-old man, and you know, and there's not too many GA players who do bypass the 35 year old mark, just due to the high demands of the game, and because it is the fastest field sport in the world, and having the body capable of going through the demands and then still performing. So it is when you get to that stage, the enjoyment of it starts to fulfill even deeper.
Possibly a goal was expensed the other day, but we'll say nothing about the passion that you brought to that
Mm,
game. Um,
yeah.
so are there times though that you feel that you have to drive yourself? So another aspect of it is, say for example, any endeavor that we want to do, does the passion arise? Do we have the passion from the outset, or do we actually have to give it a chance? Do we have to be out there? Like, sometimes you start something new and you're saying, God, I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if I can make it, but you kind of stick with it and then the passion happens. So, was it in your situation of what you see with people? Is it passion from the outset that people absolutely know this is it? Or is it passion down the line that when they've given it a decent shot, that makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, very. I would say, when I was 3 or 4, there was no passion in hurling. There was just me and the ball and my brothers outside having fun, and like that, yeah, stems from that, and then years and years and years invested in with your family into the club, then the passions drives then, and you start enjoying it. You start, just this is great, and I'm having great fun and playing matches, winning games, celebrating with teammates, um, and having the perks of being an inter-county hurler. There's we get treated very well, and then that passion then comes then. So it comes second. The first is the start. And it's the same with anything. With business, with opening a new business, with being a business leader. You have to start first, and then you see where the direction goes with you. And then you find out, I always say to people, you never realize it until you get there. Um, and that's about the starting, and then it's about looking at, okay, what's the next in 5 years' time. You might open up 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 gyms, but people always ask you when is enough, and and you never know until you get there, until you say, yeah, this is, and we're happy now, we're content. This is as far as we can go. But and then the passion just drives and it accelerates the whole thing then after that.
And if we were to try and put that into normal everyday life. Given that I was kind of, it was a Gallup study and they were talking about engagement in the workplace and they were saying that 80% of employees are not engaged. And in a way, it's kind of sad because we spend 40, 45 years in the workplace and having to spend 8 hours a day doing something that we're not engaged with and that we have no passion or no drive to succeed. Um, what are your thoughts with relation to that? Is it just that people are doing something that's not matching them? So they would be doing something, but they didn't still develop a passion for it. I don't like, do people put the question out there? What am I suitable for? So kind of a little bit about that, if you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's majority of people, it's clock in, clock out, and get out. And yeah, as I said, it's passion isn't for everyone, and with the job you're doing and the industry that we're in, you have huge empathy for helping people for them to succeed because for myself, be having 18 years of being in a elite environment and being able to pass that on to other people. And the same with your experience with nose breathing. You developed yourself, and now you're passing on your knowledge into the industry. And you get great satisfaction from that, great relief from that. But it also depends on, I suppose, the culture and the environment in the workplace as well. And, and it does, from that drive to succeed, it probably goes back to your earlier careers in sport. And I know an awful lot of people who have industries and they hire people with different backgrounds, and the people who are involved in sport are the ones who always lead from the front, are better to lead from the front because they've been in a team setting all their life. They know the values of a club and a inter-county hurler, um, and then they're able to share that into the workplace. And it's not to be, as I said, you'll always have your leaders, but then you'll also need people running behind you and because majority some people don't lead from the front, they're very much happy to listen and sit back and just do their work, which is fine too. But yes, it's the person who um that has the ability to go and without being told what to do. They're the people that you kind of want leading from the front. But you know, you have to have, I suppose, you have to realize as well that everyone doesn't have the same desire or the same work ethic as everyone. So you have to treat people individually as well, and that's okay as well.
And in terms of your relating business to sport, and I suppose playing sport is a great playground to be able to cope with wins and losses. And it's kind of reflective then that what's happened in everyday life. Do you think in terms of mental health, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you think sometimes that unless a child experiences the downs and unless they experience the disappointments and unless they're exposed to that and they develop techniques to be able to overcome them, that they're not going to be as good with coping with the stresses that happen when they have to leave home at maybe 18 or 19 years of age to go to university. Is it something that you think about?
Yes and no. My thoughts on of it is that um, now I suppose it's very much individualized in one sense, and not being on the spot. Um, but when you're playing in a team environment, you build a winning mentality, and you build I suppose a resilience to losing as well. And it takes at a young age, being competitive is good. Um, is that drive to succeed and to be better and to get better. But also then you eventually realize that after time that losing is okay as well, as long as you can deal with it, and then reflect on the game, and learn why did we lose, and why did I not perform the way I should have performed. So learning from setbacks is crucial, and an awful lot of people around there aren't able to deal with it. So they're not, maybe because they haven't been involved in a team environment and a team culture. And because, I've lost loads of games, but losing for me is the same in work. You need to, I suppose, correct it straight away. Identify why we lost, or identify why we didn't hit that KPI, and then correct it quickly, and then move on, reset and refocus, evaluate it, and then move on with it. And people aren't, they're not able for, I suppose, setbacks and being told you're not getting that promotion, because maybe they're always told that you're great, and you're the best, and you're, this, or my Tommy is the best, and he's the greatest, and you should get that job, and and very much people are probably gone so somewhat entitled without actually earning it, before you're actually, and that's the mindset. The mindset of the culture is that you're entitled to things which, if you had the mindset of going in and proving your boss wrong, or proving your boss right, or going in doing the extra bit, and being seen to be doing it, and being heard that you're doing it, and leading from the front, well then, there shouldn't be issues. But majority of people have that mindset of just they're a little bit entitled, in somewhat, and again, being told that they're not getting it, or that no, you're not starting on the team. Well, then it's a very selfish place to be, and with team sport is all about, the player beside you, the player on the bench, and there's no egos in a team, and if they are, well, unfortunately, they won't be there, next year. And in sport, yes, that's one, I suppose, good area in it, that I suppose there's no HR in there, that if a person is stepping out of line and he's not giving it his all, or he's been a bad influence on the team, well then the manager has his right to, okay, you're not the right fit for my team. Off you go. But in the workplaces, look, I know, the industry, obviously you have three businesses, and everything has to be stepped in stone, which is okay as well. But again, discipline is crucial, in sport, and having that discipline there is huge.
Yeah, there's something about how you can relate it to business, and that whole aspect of it. The people that you work with, what do you work with? Is it a kind of a balance between male and females, and what kind of age group? And I'm just curious, what kind of comes out as being the number one thing that they would like to get addressed, or do they even know it? So, say for example, you were talking about people maybe having a sense of self entitlement, and very often I feel that's lack of self awareness on their part. That they have a story in their head and how good that they are, but they're not able to see how that story is playing out in real life. So the people that you're working with, they're pretty much high achievers. These are individuals that want to do better. Um, what do you think is the biggest thing that they want to work at? And also, do they know what is most important for them?
Yeah, so we coach business leaders, across Ireland and Europe, to be better with their health and fitness, and our program is called We Build Better People. Um, and it's majority males, probably 90% of males, are on our portfolio. And it's procrastinating is the big one. 5, 10 years of unfulfillment, no joyfulness, playfulness. Their demands of the career was number one for 5, 10 years, and then they had to sacrifice their health and fitness due to it, because like that, very much individualized, that they had to, I suppose their their goal was to build a business and to build it to millions of euros or whatnot. But then their health and fitness has suffered. A majority of the people is just getting back doing something that they enjoy. Majority of the business leaders that come through are probably between 40 and 60 years of age, where they've neglected their health and fitness and regret it quite quickly. As soon as we put them onto a program, within a couple of weeks, the joyfulness and the playfulness comes through them, the smile on their face, the grin on their face. Before, you know, they had no plan, no structure in place, and didn't know what to do. And the majority of these senior leaders, in their 20s, testosterone is high and they're running, they're playing football, soccer, hurling, GA, everything, all types of sport. And then from the age of 25, you get a job and you dedicate your life to it. And what happens, the mind is, if you allow your mind to race and your mind to be fixated on this one thing, a year down the line, it's not good. 5 years down the line, it's not good. And then 10 years down the line, it's overwhelming. And probably the most impactful one of the pillars that we train is sleep and coach and build awareness around sleep, and majority of them are affected with sleep. Just overwhelming, anxious, and with everything. First thing they wake up in the morning, they put probably 100 emails in front of them. They probably scroll on Twitter or Facebook and putting another 1,000 people before them. And then before they know it, they're rushing with getting kids and family members ready for school and rushing to work, and then they have back-to-back windows with schedules of meetings and Zoom meetings and deadlines to be hit. And it takes time to as this is not, we don't coach a 6 week program, or this is a 12-month and further of a program to work with, and sleep isn't corrected overnight. Takes time to identify it, but the number one thing then that obviously weight loss is another big part of it, just due to no structure, ultra processed food, alcohol consumption is huge, because their way of dealing with stress is to open a bottle of wine, and it's just out of it's out of binge, it's out of emotional feelings, that when they're emotionally feeling tired or emotionally feeling that they've succeeded, they hit a good month or a good deadline or new tender that they've won for the last month, they turn to alcohol for that satisfaction. But all that just leads to more inflammation in the body and more inflammation in the mind. And in the GAA, we have there's a saying going where there's drinking bans put in, but it's not really. But again, with our job is to get you performing better with yourself, and then contrasting that over into your peak performance in your business. And we look at all areas, and your health is our responsibility, and they're man-to-man questions, like we're sitting here in front of you today, Patrick, and we're really going at it and really identifying what areas where you need to improve. But then after 6 weeks, they're just so satisfied that they started something. You know, the last time they were out of breath was maybe 10 years ago, and that's just, huge. Just because men, we need that release valve, and that release valve is up here, and we need to express ourselves. And so the big one that we take great pride of is that, after 6 week weight loss isn't the goal anymore. They're just so glad that they're back out exercising, maybe meeting people for a five-a-side soccer or whatnot. So small things, the smaller wins. Then the big wins will always be on the piece of paper, but then the little small things. A few clients who couldn't even walk up the stairs without being out of breath, and so on. So real, I suppose heart to heart conversations, but we get great satisfaction from it.
I think that I can totally relate to that. I was that person for a while as well. And you kind of get sucked in. If you have a small business, there's a fear of what happens if it doesn't go right. You have such a sense of obligation and responsibility, and you do tend to put your work absolutely 100% because you really want to try and do your best with it. Is there a point? So for me, I kind of got resentful, that I felt that I'm putting all of this energy out there, but I wasn't giving myself any attention. Now, there were times, of course, when I work with breathing, that I would bring breathing practice into my everyday life, and I've always done that. But the physical aspect, the physical fitness aspect of it, I was doing very minimal stuff. So what happens when the people that you work with, so they reach a certain age? Is it just that they feel resentful, or what kind of, they feel there's something amiss, or how does it happen then that they reach out to you? Is it because of mental health issues, or what would be the scenario?
Yeah, everyone is different. But the main one is that they've been procrastinating to do something for themselves. They notice that themselves, they're unhappy with themselves, aren't happy how they look, how they feel. Energy is low, sleep is poor, waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, not being able to go back to sleep. Diet, being poor. Again, no plan with food. No, they don't know what to eat, when to eat. Stopping off in the McDonald's and the fast food takeaways and picking up ultra processed foods. Heading home on a weekday and weekend drinking alcohol. And these business leaders, they're being invited to events, and they might be flying abroad to work as well. And just the subconscious mind is playing away that it's the next burger, or the next fries, or the next few beers won't do any harm. Um, and now it's just the conscious mind starts to win. And now they start, once they come on the journey, then is to rewire that mindset, and it's in those moments is how you're thinking and what you're feeling, and you might feel you might want, or you might be thinking that you might want an alcohol, but when you start feeling it, do I really need it? And so it's the most important thing is how you talk to yourself, and how the language that you use for yourself is so important. Um, and it's just I like that then as well, that the drive to be better, and to again to go back to relive just 2 days of their life when they're in their 20s. And if people in their 40s and 50s and 60s to spend 2 days when they were in their 20s, they would reduce stress and by 40%. So it would. And because when you're 20s, you have no financial care, no stress, no marriage, no kids, probably going to your hurling training, going soccer training, football training, for that hour, meeting your friends, socializing with your friends, having the crack. You might go to the pub maybe for a pint in your home. And that social connection, social fulfillment is crucial as well. And then work just takes over, and unfortunately your friends get left behind, and then you're just heavily invested in your work.
Mm.
And now, it's great that and for us, it's it's just it clicks with them. Obviously when they see my promotions, my ads on LinkedIn, they might see it once and they'll be like, yeah, I need to do something that sounds what I need. And then like that, then they might leave it for another week, and then they're really invested in because another week has gone by, and they're still feeling the way they were feeling 10 years ago, and then they're heavily invested to being better as well. But it's again, every individual is different.
Mm. I'd say, yeah, no, I'm 51, so I have a few more miles on the clock than you have. And
Mm.
bringing in strength training for a man at my age, and maybe it is that kind of middle age kind of change that you have. I'm kind of surprised because oftentimes when I think about business leaders, I wouldn't always think that they're feeling highly stressed. These individuals are very resilient, but at the same time, do they know they're stressed? Um, sometimes in business you feel like you have to be stressed. It's kind of differentiating from that, that there's a point at which stress becomes bad, and their awareness around that. So when you're having a discussion, how do you frame it to an individual and you start talking about stress? Do they open up and start telling you, yes, they're stressed, and what way do you go about it?
Yeah, look, we have a few readings. Obviously, we do a whole environmental audit on every client, but majority of them are sleep and stress. So they're on a high scale of it. But if you're not sleeping,
Yeah, I
you're not
agree.
recovering. You're not recovering. And majority of people, so we have a 24/7 tracking device that all our business leaders wear. We monitor how well they sleep. And now we go after the sleep, number one. So we do on wake events at 21 wake events per night. We immediately go after those wake events, and we try to bring in breathing exercise into it, guided meditation into the play as well. And within a couple of weeks, then those wake events are halved. And that's crucial. Majority of them wake up tired in the morning time, fatigued, and then they're going into number one. We have kids or their wife in the morning, and now stress is up to low to medium level. And then when they go into work, hit with emails, deadlines, anxious people demanding X, Y, and Z. Stress levels are medium to high now, come 12 o'clock. Um, and then we identify all these gray areas by reporting how well you're sleeping and your stress your stress monitored each day as well. But yeah, it's amazing how again we look at the mindset of it is as well. What is stress, and how do you feel if you're stressed, and what are the signs? Um, and we all know that when we're stressed, our heart rate elevates slightly. We get, our chest starts to breathe faster. We might start a little bit sweating. Our chest might starts to closing. Our breathing might start to be upper chest, and from there then we're just able to, tell them to relax, to breathe, breathe into their nose for 4 or 5 minutes, and immediately they start to feel better. But what about if we taught our clients that stress is good? Maybe stress is preparing you for battle. And is stress a positive thing? With majority of people, and stress sometimes people throw out the word I'm stressed or I'm depressed, and I don't really like it in one sense because we can all say we're depressed or we're stressed, and it's a word used an awful lot, and again it's feeding the subconscious mind that, oh, I'm stressed, without even knowing okay, are you stressed? How are you feeling? What makes you think that you're stressed? And it's to change that, and again, is to rewire your mindset of and telling yourself that you're not stressed. Or stress is good. We have a big game coming up, and we should be stressed. But for me, preparing for a big game, for me, it's good stress. Obviously, there's good being anxious. Maybe a little bit of anxiety, to worry about the fear of losing. But for us, though, they're good stressors. It's preparing your body, it's preparing your mind for battle. Visualizing the outcome. I know when I go to bed. There's deep thoughts in my mind. But that's the way that my body is preparing me for battle, and it is to try to again get people thinking differently about the language that they're using as well.
I think that's a very good point that you made. It's often become trendy for people to say that they're stressed or they're anxious or depressed. Um, and you can see how it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then you believe that you're in that state and you're going to kind of react to that state. So changing the mindset can be very important. Um, how, in terms of your mind activity, and when did you start becoming interested, say, for example, in states of mind? And do you feel that you have a busy mind, or what helps you to bring a quietness to the mind? And do you ever think about your concentration then on the back of that as well? So it's all interlinked in terms of that. So just kind of your personal experience, what do you do to help that if you feel that the mind is a little bit overactive? Little strategies that you might do to help to quieten that.
Yeah, I would. I have a busy mind, and the mind is always racing. But um, I'm blessed that sport is still a number one priority for me, and um, and I've built probably that I suppose a few non-negotiables into my day, and it's as soon as 5 o'clock comes, my day is over, and now I'm training if it's 6:30. Now I'm preparing my body and my mind for training. Um, so it's to allow that, but then having I suppose a skill set then to have, and little tips and tricks where you can use to down regulate the mind and body, and having a distraction is vital. And the distraction for me is sport, is hurling, is GEA. My distraction is my family, and I'm very good at not and bringing home my laptop, doing work. I leave it there for the next day. If there's something important, you can ring me. And emails will always be there the next morning and the morning after. And if there's really something urgent and needs your attention, they'll phone you. And yes, that the phones are the best and great things as well. But before, we're all in the office and all your emails was on a laptop and your phone, and not your phone and your computer, and you couldn't bring it home. But now people have all your emails on phones now, and you see people on emails in the car. You see them in even on their lunch or coffee. Having their lunch on their phones at home, sitting down in front of your TV with your kids and parents. You're probably on your phone. Um, so it's to build in some non-negotiables into your day-to-day life. When you're having your lunch, you're being present in your lunch. You're sitting down with your meal in front of you, because majority of people, when I ask them what did they have for lunch yesterday, they don't even know, because they weren't even present in it. And I asked them, did it taste nice? And they said, Jesus, I'm sure it was grand, because their mind is wandering, the mind is on the next project or the next thing, and it's being able to find your hour. And we always ask our clients, can you find 30 minutes a day for yourself? Geez, I can find an hour. Well, okay, let's find that hour, and that hour is your hour. That hour is your time to forget about work, forget about family, forget about anything else that's going on in the world out there, the news. And that hour is for you to be present in that moment. And if it's a workout, if it's a soccer match, and then in that moment, then you're telling yourself, and you're telling yourself that I'm doing great, I'm doing well, I'm exercising, I feel good. That weight you're lifting over your head, that felt good. I really feel good here. And then in those moments is how you're feeling as well. That you're feeling good, you're feeling positive about the outcome, and you're visualizing the next things down the line. And that hour is the most important hour of your day. Is to give that hour to yourself because you owe it to yourself. Because it's we majority of people spend 8, 12, 14 hours working on the business, but they're not able to give 1 hour to themselves. And we just want to get back that hour. And it's not about, for me, it's not about balance because you'll always have work and you'll always have family, you'll always have kids, and you'll always have your health and your fitness, but you can't really balance any of them. For me, it's about self-care and having a self-care and wellness action into your day. And that's you just again rewiring your mindset is that first time you're going to bed at night, you're thinking about, okay, what do I need to do tomorrow to be socially fulfilled? And that's me getting my gear bag ready for the next day to go for a walk, for a 30-minute walk in the morning, or it could be packing my gear bag to get ready to go to the gym. That's you putting yourself first. And in the morning time, you're waking up in the morning time and you're not having your phone on you. You're getting straight out into the sunlight for 30 minutes of a walk, of getting natural sun onto the mind, onto the face, onto the body. And now you're fully awake and you're fully in the moment. And now you can be prepared for what obstacles throw when you look at your phone. And then you're fully prepared to meet your family head on in the morning time as well. And it's to relive those moments and for yourself is so important.
I think it's great. So, kind of bringing it all together, it's having the discipline to give yourself the attention, and to put yourself first. And I remember in a previous conversation, you as a sports person, you said, number one is I have to put myself first. And when you do that, then other things fall into place. So, in other words, if we need to be doing the best that we can do, we need to have focus, we need to have concentration, we need to have deep sleep, we need to have an ability to self regulate. And we also need to have time out. Do you think it's more challenging nowadays in terms of the mobile phone that there's a greater tendency for focus to be stolen and for people to be distracted and for people to be, caught up with the technology because ultimately the technology is designed for that and navigating that, do you, for example, do you ask your clients to get rid of apps? You also mentioned the news. So there were a couple of points there in terms of protecting your own mental health by not being exposed to so much over information.
Yeah. Yeah, look, if you turn on the news now, everything is bad news and everything is doom and gloom. And it's amazing when you don't listen to the news. How positively your mind starts to wander and yeah, look, there's a balance with it. We need our phones at times, and this is just a story, just my own. Everything that I do is built on personal experience, and experience counts. Um, but my daughter she's only 2.5 years of age, and I was obviously a bad habit. I was sitting down on the couch, and my daughter was wanting to play with me, and I had my phone just again lost in the moment, no care for my surroundings. And she's only 2.5 years of age, and she goes to me, "Daddy, put your phone down."
Wow.
And that's for me that hit home, and I asked myself, okay, do I want to have that environment where my daughter is here? She's 2.5 years of age and she wants to play with me, and I'm there stuck on my phone, watching. I don't know. Okay, it could have been Instagram or could have been Facebook. But now every time is the conscious effort. As soon as Harper is in the room, my phone is down. I'll put my phone away. So I'm fully again with that hour or 2 hours with her. I'm playing with her, and and majority of, I suppose, business leaders out there, the tendency is to be surrounded with their phone, with family members, and you even see it in restaurants. You could go into a coffee shop now, and there's friends there, and they're all on their phones, and it's just the way modern society is gone, and that connection, that fully conversational, is nearly gone in the younger generation, more so than the more senior people. You go into most coffee shops and you see that the senior elderly people, they weren't brought up with technology, so their connection is talking, chatting about Mary or Tom down the road or whatnot. And that's again something that you always ask yourself you know, is that the way you want to live your life?
You bring in the social connection quite a lot. It obviously means a lot to you, giving people attention. And just on that last point there, bringing it back to and drawing to our conversation to a close. But if you were to look back at your 20-year-old self, and I know this is a question that's often bandied about there, but what I would like to do is I would like to see any nuggets that you might have based on your experience as a 20-year-old for a 20-year-old that's listening to this. Because I personally found it was an exciting time, but it was a challenging time. And I got fully immersed in work. And sometimes if I look back, I wonder, did I kind of get lost too much in what I was doing? Um, what would you say for a 20-year-old now listening?
If I was a 20-year-old, I would have started earlier, and I would have well, yeah, I would have started earlier, and I would have gotten there quicker, if I did start earlier.
In
And
business, TJ, is it? Sorry, in business, or
in
where
business
would
and
you
in
start?
sport, yeah,
In
in
sport as well.
sport, we back, I suppose, in my time, the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, the psychology, it wasn't heavily invested as it was now. And to dominate any area, you need to start earlier and to learn the processes and to educate yourself very quickly and knowing all the characteristics and the values and the skill set that you need to succeed. I would have started earlier. And for me, pressure happens when you don't know the how, you don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. And that's when you can't perform to your peak performance because you haven't ticked the boxes. And I say to any, even, and the beauty about me and in business, that our philosophy in sport is a bit to build the best team around you for you to succeed. And I'm very much not a selfish person, it's the team member beside me, he's more important than me. And I have no issues delegating out to staff members and getting in more senior people that know more than me. Because what I know, if I can build the best team, well, then my business will succeed and there's longevity in it and it will be sustainable. But if you go try to do things on your own, on your own lonely journey, well, then unfortunately, you know, it's not going to be number one in joyfulness. So it's not, because you're on your own. You can't celebrate with anybody else. So it was to start earlier and to learn the processes and to learn everything first, and then go and conquer your success and build the best team around you. Because yes, there's millionaires out there and billionaires out there, but they didn't get there out there on their own. They got there with having an incredible team supporting them, having the same passion, having the same values of you, and then your team, your business will succeed because everyone is everyone is in tune with the same goal and the same vision.
And I get a sense that you're saying start with yourself first, or at least don't forget about yourself while you're building the team at the same time.
Everything starts from you, yeah, because you need to have the standards of excellence and be your own CEO of your own health and fitness. And then, it's all about seeing and then doing. And if the team members, are seeing you looking after yourself, having the presence around the room, and being mindfulness of yourself, well, then the team will always come and follow suit as well.
Great. TJ, it was a pleasure. Enjoyed the conversation. So for people, you said you've Instagram and you've other handles. How can people find a little bit more about you?
So our business page on LinkedIn is TJ Reid Elite Coaching, and then my own Instagram is TJ Reid 12 on Instagram. So you can find me there if you want to connect, have a chat. Be more than welcome. Be more than honored to have a chat.
Pleasure. Thanks very much, TJ.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you for listening to the Oxygen Advantage podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and maybe take the time to leave us a review. The Oxygen Advantage podcast is available from all your podcast providers.